Nice. Beautiful. Teasing you, right? Life is good. Yes, Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Tennessee, the home of Alvin York, Jeff Quinn, Dolly Parton, and many others. Yes, glad you're here. It is Sunday, the 135th time you have awakened to this idiocy, right? On a Sunday morning, 135 times. Well, that's not counting the, well, I don't know, 2,300, 2,500, whatever other videos you might have awakened to at some point. If you're woke, right, you awaken to it. I think there's a little difference between the definition of awakened, enlightened, and woke. Yeah, I am usually awake and like to think I'm enlightened. I have tried to become more and more enlightened in my life, as most people have. Not everybody, but most people have. And so that's what makes, in 2022, the woke idiocy even more idiotic, right? So anyway, but it makes people feel good, right? Everybody needs to virtue signal in some way. Have you noticed that? I guess we all do it to some extent. We like to know, let people know of all the great things we're doing and that we do. How handsome we are, how smart we are, how many cool things we have, cool places. It's, social media just plays into that too, right? But we just love to virtue signal, and throw out all our virtues, even if they're not virtues. Yeah, so I'm talking about human nature, I guess. I hope I'm not too bad about it, and you either, but some folks are, and they cling together in groups especially, right? And figure out ways to virtue signal so that they can feel better than the rest of us, right? They see what's going on, whether it's destroying the environment or something, or whatever you're doing, I'm doing, So anyway, everybody needs a way to feel better, and if they've not really done much in their lives worthwhile, they're even more apt to latch on to some fantasy, right? Because they don't really have maybe a reason to feel good about themselves. Here I get philosophical. I didn't even know I was going to be saying this stuff. Of course, I never know what I'm going to be saying, but they don't know, they've not built up their self-esteem. They've not earned, I guess I'm trying to say, their self-esteem or good feelings about themselves because of accomplishments, they've made, right? Worked hard to learn how to do something, worked hard towards an objective, a goal, accomplished it, and started work on another goal, whatever it is, whether it's preparing for a career, saving money, eating well, professionally, just whatever it might be. They've not, I think, I'm speaking in generalities, I realize everybody is not like, but a lot of people, I think, because they have not, pop psychology 101, they've not really accomplished anything on their own, and maybe have no desire to accomplish anything on their own. They've got to grab the virtue where they can get it, even though it's fake virtue. They're not really virtuous, but they have seen on social media, they've seen from in their little bubble of shallow friends, what seems to make people feel better about themselves because they can I don't know, pretend to feel good, or they can actually maybe feel good about themselves, even though it's not real, for some ideology, some view they have on the world and how they can save the world, They can save the world. So yeah, I'm gonna feel good about myself. I found the answer. I can save you, I can save the world. And man, that's big stuff. That's almost divine. That's almost religious. It is a religion for a lot of people, isn't it? So I'm the one who sees the answer. I can save you. I can save society, you know, by doing what I'm doing. Man, yeah, that is real virtue, isn't it? Too bad it's fake. Okay, I got off on that awfully quick. Now, you're wondering why I didn't shoot as I normally do. As you... Okay, turn off all the gizmos here. The reason I'm not shooting, as you entered, was the fact that I have another firearm that has yet to be fired. And I thought I'd let you know it hadn't been fired yet, let you hopefully enjoy the first shots I take with this Anaconda, okay? Because I have not fired it. I've just had it for, I don't know, a week, maybe, less than a week, and I have not fired it. So I thought I'd bring you all aboard, and we would together figure out, see where it hits, right? So I didn't fire in the opening there just for that reason. I thought you would know that I'm firing the first shots. You would not have known if I had been firing those, so I'll do that. And Talon and ballast off, a lot of help we get. Yeah, I told you all about about having difficulty with the suppressor on the Scorpion, you know, the Evo CZ Scorpion, and getting it off because they had, you saw it in the video, they had, whoever modified that pistol, put a carbine handguard on it, which I like. It's cool, I like that gun, obviously, that's why I bought it. And so, amid an ignorance attack, I put the suppressor on and couldn't get it off. Anyway, when they were down, they took it back, and plus there was an end cap we had damaged. They're going to replace that, and so they're going to take care of that and then send it back to me. You know, you may not be aware of that, but you can do that. Like I'm nobody special. You know, when I buy guns or sign of guns come in for loan, you know, from Buds or wherever, I fill out the 4473 just like you do, even though it's not my gun, really. I guess in the ATF's eye it is until I send it back. But because firearms, according to FFL rules, now we can trade amongst ourselves and that kind of thing, which I've done my whole life, and you too probably, if you're in a free state. But through FFLs, you know, firearms always have to be accounted for, logged in, and all that kind of thing. In fact, a gun shop gets in trouble. If I trade a gun today, at a gun shop and they just forget to log it into their books, the ATF comes and does an audit like they do periodically, and there's no register. Where's this gun's not in the books anywhere. You know, it's got to be in the books, man, if it's there. You know, and that's and so same thing. You know, if I get a gun, they've got to log it out to me. I do the form, get the background check, and everything. But now, what I was getting at, if and many of you know this, if you have a firearm that needs to be gunsmithed, worked on, you can send back to the factory or to an FFL for that, for gun modification even, or work, whatever, and it's an actual FFL, then you can just send it directly to them and they can send it back to your house. It's kind of weird. I always feel like, is this all right? Yeah, it is, isn't it? You know, because it's not something that happens very often. I don't really send guns off to have them worked on very much, you know. And I always feel like, okay, I think he's coming to the house, huh? Yeah, not through a gun shop. You know, even though a lot of that is silliness in terms of laws and regulations, I still, you know, I always double check myself. Wait a minute, is this right? You know, it doesn't feel right. Then I can't afford to skirt the laws, you know, which is way too public and too much going on. And so I follow the rules, as I've said before. I have too much at stake. I enjoy my hobby too much. I have too many firearms, and probably will be getting more, right? Yeah, if you know me, you probably would say yes to that. So, yes, I in a moment of weakness, I bought this. The Anaconda, 8-inch Anaconda, 2021 Anaconda. And you may have seen our videos, hopefully, on the Anaconda. It was a 6-inch we did. So we'll do some videos on this 8-inch Anaconda 2021. This is not an old one, which is a good thing, you know, as I have discussed, and I guess others have. The Python's a Python, okay, when you talk about a Python. The old Pythons they're just incredible. And the new ones are nice. In some ways better than the old Pythons, okay? Less prone to action problems, despite the issue we had. You know, the old ones do. Now, people argue back and forth about that. Oh, I had one I shot 100,000 times. It never went out of timing and all that kind of thing. But every other person, like 80 to 90% of people who have shot Pythons a lot in their lives, the old Pythons, know that. They've been in PPC competition or whatever it is, practical police competition, whatever that stands for, you know, shooting pythons and everything. They had to be retimed occasionally, more so than Smith & Wesson, okay? And not just anybody could do it. So it's a real thing, even if you never had that issue. And I never had to have one retimed. I had 3 or 4 through the years. And I know that the timing was not perfect on them. It just didn't lock up totally, you know. They shot okay, but I could tell there was a little bit of an issue I never did go ahead and worked on. So the new Python, 2020 Python, doesn't seem to really have those issues. You know, they had that little minor issue, which really apparently was just a few of us. Now there were some issues with, I think, some gouges on them, some quality control in different ways and finish and things like that on some of them when they came out. But that issue with the screw being loose or whatever it was with the action, apparently that wasn't too many people. You know, it just happened to be us, you know, and a few others, and really bad, you know, what happened. But apparently that was not a major issue. There was just like hundreds or thousands of them, you know, experienced, and they addressed that. Just like SIG did with their P365, you have issues, you know, major companies generally going to jump right on that and deal with it, and apparently Colt did a good job of that, just like SIG did. And again, I'm not an apologist for gun companies. We have no connection to any gun company, but I love the gun companies. They make my toys, you know, so I'm not going to bash them unnecessarily either. Give them the benefit of the doubt, you know, if they deserve it. But the other thing is, let's see. John's trying to call. It could be important. I'll come back and see you, okay? Okay, I'm back. Yeah, it was John, and I'm glad to stop and talk to him because I got a couple of dates I'll give you. Excuse me. He will be at Laughs in Tucson, hosting on September 2nd and 3rd. He'll be the host at Laughs Comedy Club there in Tucson, September 2nd and 3rd, and also at the Comedy Catch in Chattanooga on October 7th and the 8th. He'll be hosting there. Okay, so glad I talked to him. And yeah, so I was talking about the Anaconda, and we'll shoot it here in a second for the first time. How the pythons are a different animal. They're really slick and nice. The new ones are slick and nice, and I like them. The barcode or the QR code is the only real negative on the thing. So they're not an old python, of course, different action. They weren't made by hand like those, all the handwork and everything. But they really mastered the CNC and the close tolerances and got that nice action and everything. Probably the only way that could happen now these days, because you don't have that old world craftsmanship, you know, even available anymore. And that's really the only reason a python, I guess, could come back. I always said it would never come back because, you know, who's going to build them? Who knows how? Who can do that anymore? The gunsmiths and that kind of thing. Well, they've kind of circumvented the gunsmiths and the hand fitting and all that, you know, through technology, really. I mean, the new python's nice, I think. But it is different, but it's really nice. And again, the old Anacondas were not pythons. They were not python quality at all. In fact, they had some accuracy issues. They were nice, but they were not python quality at all. Not meant to be. Okay? But as you move forward to 2020 and 2021, These Anacondas are just a big python, bigger caliber, bigger gun, same quality. Okay, now if you think the new pythons have no quality, then you're not going to like this either. But yeah, these are nice. The action is like glass, like glass. There's a leaf spring, sweet. Anyway, I couldn't resist. I've been thinking about. I think if you saw the video we did on the new Anaconda, I mentioned in there that I might have to have one. You know, I was right. So I went with the 8-inch because it's a big gun anyway. I'm probably not going to make a pocket gun out of it, and it's just cool. I have to say, in so many ways, it's actually cooler. I know it's sacrilegious. Sorry, Clint, but it's even cooler than the Model 29 in some ways. It really is. It's too bad Colt was so slow coming out with the Anaconda in general. It was like 1990. Back in the 70s, we used to sit around and talk about it. In the 80s, you know, why didn't Colt make a 44 Magnum? Smith was getting rich on 44 Magnums. And they just never did until 1990. They were like 20, 30 years late, right, to that. They were late to the game. They were late to the game. If they had come out with that Anaconda in about 75 or something, oh my gosh, they'd have sold so many of those, especially where people couldn't get the there's a shortage of the Smiths, and they could have really capitalized on that. But they were busy building military firearms. Had all these big, luscious military contracts. All right, I'm going to start out with some hand loads, and I'm going to jacket it. The only problem we may have, and that's okay, I haven't shot it yet. I was going to shoot it like yesterday. I'll just wait till Sunday shoot around and see where the sights are. I'm not going to be able to adjust windage today. Let's try on this target right here. All right, first shot's in the red. Wow, bullseye, perfect bullseye. I don't know if you can see that. That's pretty good at this distance. All right, let's christen it with a 2-liter. 2-liter and a cowboy in one shot. Well, why don't we just throw one at the gong? What the heck? What the heck? All right. Sights must not be too far off. Try this plate down here. See if I can get a feel for if it's printing kind of high or low. I'll put one in the middle of the cowboy. That's a little left. That's kind of the elevation where I was holding, I think. Okay. So we'll see. Yeah, all right, sweet. That barrel really absorbs the recoil. It has a little bitty Allen screw, I guess, hex screw, something to move the windage on the rear sight. It's a itty bitty one, which I don't know. I have one probably. It'd been nice if one had come with it. Yeah, and then a regular screw on the side to adjust it, but you got to loosen that first. All right. But the elevation, just a simple matter there, so I can adjust that. Again, as I have instructed you, what you want to do, though, before you start messing with the elevation, at least, especially, is, you know, shoot some and see what ammo, where it prints. You got to ask yourself some questions like, okay, what ammo am I going to be shooting most often in this firearm, this handgun, and get some of it. You probably have some of it if that's what you're going to be shooting most often. And then see where it prints, where it hits. If it hits right on, and that's the ammo you're going to be shooting the most, don't mess with them. You know, if you'd like a particular sight picture and get it to hit where you want it to, you know, do the adjustments. And then if you do happen to shoot some other ammo, you know, figure out where you need to change your hold a little bit, you know, but whatever you're going to be shooting the most, that's where you want your sights, I guess, for me at least. How about a bowling pin? Let's try the gong with one of these. These are hotter. got him. Got his plate down here. How about the pig? All right, right in the kill zone. I see a Clorox bottle there. Do I have another round? Took care of that. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a sweet one. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna like it. I loaded thousands of rounds of 44 this winter. Told you about that. Got a bunch, and I got a bunch of these 300 grain bullets. You know what? I might have just put those in there that time. I don't know. I got some 300 grain that I loaded for my Marlin rifles, and let me shoot a couple of those because that might be what I grabbed there. And they should be fine in this heavy built revolver. So I'm gonna try 3 of those. Whereas I don't shoot those in the Smith generally. They'd probably be fine, but yeah. Yeah, that one was hot. Good. Okay. Oh, how'd I miss? That's pathetic, huh? Pathetic. So, oh no, I didn't. I was shooting factory those last 6. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell a lot of difference between those and these. Let me see. These are the 240 grain lead, round nose flat point. Just more of those. All right. Those are really sweet. I'll try the turkey over there. Get a better feel for the sights here. All right. Let's try the red plate on the left. Oh, I don't think that was far off. Looks like over there maybe about a 6 o'clock hold with those. That was fine. All right, so I'm hopeless. 44 Magnum, my weakness, and yeah, this seems like it's going to be something I really like. I love the revolver, and if it shoots well, that's a nice bonus, right? So pretty cool. Put some more federal through it. What we're going to talk about? I'm blowing all my time here, aren't I? Before, again, the imposters are just swarming the channel, you know, with all these crazy offers. So again, if you're not aware of that, people, you know, it's ignore any text like that, this scam text, and text this number and all that stupid stuff. I think YouTube is trying to address that. They wanted me to copy and paste some of that, and they were going to be, you know, looking in. They're trying to address that, but I don't know. It's a constant battle, right? I guess, and we'll see. And a reminder: everything we do is over on Gunstreamer. Okay, if YouTube goes south or something, every video is on Gunstreamer.com. Okay, there's just a few on Rumble. I talked with Rumble. Some they've kind of tried to woo us over there, and they couldn't answer some questions that I needed answers to about how to manage descriptions and things over there in mass. You know, you got 2,500 videos. You can't change every description individually. You know, you have to have that capability of modifying a template and blasting it and all that kind of thing, like YouTube, Gunstreamer has. That's what eventually took us away from full 30. You know, we have to be able to do that, you know, when you have this many videos. And even if you have 200 or whatever you had. But anyway, just a reminder of that. And who knows what the future will bring, of course. I had I got to give credit again to that most brilliant comment of the year, right? The governor of Illinois, what was it? Oh yeah, our founders carried muskets, not assault weapons. Okay, yeah, got to remind people of the brain power we're dealing with in our government. Okay, at all levels. Right. Uh, there was another comment I saw. How's this for another brilliant comment on a video somewhere? Why would an ordinary citizen need a military weapon? So stupid. Yeah. Why would an ordinary citizen need a military weapon? So stupid. You mean like back in 1776, you know? Yeah, so stupid. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. What are the schools doing? Are they just, have they decided that, we don't really want to teach critical thinking? I wouldn't doubt but that's not what's happening, really. I mean, do you, with the folks in power in a lot of school systems, and we know the politics going on, maybe they do not want to teach critical thinking. That's not in their best interest, right? How do you control a population and, just feed their little minds full of mush? How do you do that if you're also teaching them to be critical thinkers and to think critically about things and to be skeptical, So, I don't know if critical thinking is just getting out there at all, and any encouragement for youngsters to think about things on their own. Apparently not, and that's scary, because young people, they're not famous for that anyway. So you need to really encourage that. Oh, all right. Let's shoot some 240 grain federal jacketed ammo. Boom. How about a bowling pin? How about that half-gallon jug in front of that plate? All right. Let's put another one of these on the gong. Boom. All right, got one more. Oh, let's get this 2-liter right in front of me. Oh, big gun. Wow. 44 Magnum. That's got some punch. Got some punch. I'm not crazy about the grips. I'm just not crazy about rubber grips unless you really, really need them. I think this gun has enough weight that I can get by without those if I could find some that fit. I saw some pretty good looking ones. Oh, Adamant, whatever, ATAMONT, OUNT, I don't know. I've seen their grips, probably bought a few of them in the past. So I've been looking, and I've seen some really nice looking wood grips and everything. But the part I can't see is the back spine. You're not offering pictures. The thing I want is the same thing I would want on the 2020 Python, is to have a wider grip. The grips on the 2020 Python are too narrow, way too narrow for me, and a lot of people I've heard comment on that. These aren't much better. There may be a little bit more meat there. So I think I'll take the grips off my old Python because they'll fit, and see how I like that feel. And if nothing else, I may end up just buying. They're expensive though. If they're real Python, the original manufacturer, equipment would be high. I'll buy some custom grips. I don't mind that, but I don't need to pay $300-400 just to get, original Python grips or something. But I want that thickness is what I want. Okay. And if you know of any, let me know, because the Python grips fit these too. And they just all seem too thin that I've seen, just like the ones that come on the 2020 Python. So there you go. If you have any ideas on that. I've seen a couple of really nice looking wood, but again, I'm not sure how thick they are. So I'll tell you, there's no hope for me, is there? There's no hope. Speaking of pronouns, it occurred to me as I hear that talked about frequently these days. Yeah, it's a first world problem, isn't it? We get to worry about pronouns. That's part of the issue. Not enough serious issues, I guess. So other things dominate our minds, perhaps. But I will say something. Sounds like I'm about to agree, but I'm not. I taught English for a long time, of course, and I used to say to my students that we do need another pronoun. We do have that issue. That's not the issue that's popping up today, of course. But I've always thought when you're writing, and because you end up with agreement issues, but it's strictly from a grammatical standpoint, okay, in a style, format. You're writing about characters, somebody, singular is singular, plural is plural. You can't change that. For example, even the word everybody is singular, okay? Somebody is singular. There's words like that. So, if I say, and I show my students, I remember talking with them about this. Sometimes, one of these days, I'm going to, as the god of grammar, I'm going to invent a new pronoun that is both plural and singular or something to solve this business of the he or she. Like if I said somebody left, if I say somebody left their book bag in the hall, that's not proper grammar. It's not proper agreement. Somebody is singular, okay? And I say someone left their book bag. Who owns that book bag? 3 different people? No, it's somebody's book bag. Somebody left their book bag in the hallway is incorrect, see? So technically it should be somebody left his book bag in the hallway, or somebody left her book bag, or somebody left his or her book bag in the hallway. So you end up with that issue, always using masculine, gender or whatever. So what we have needed an adjustment in some ways in pronouns, and I don't know, or just what I think what has kind of evolved is a lot of well-educated people who know how to speak properly and know grammar just use there, to cover, and the agreement issue is just ignored, I guess. But it's an agreement issue. It's a pronoun antecedent agreement issue. It's that simple, And if you're writing a paper, you're writing something, and every time you turn around, you have to say he or she, and if whoever left his or her book bag in the hallway, it just gets tedious, doesn't it? And you end up wanting to just use there, or you change the antecedent to plural. The students who left their book bags in the hallway, and so you do have that issue there, but that has nothing to do with some of the craziness going on today. People majoring in minors when it comes to some things. But I know you were worried about that. Some of you asked for more grammar, so there's a little piece of it. Okay. Oh man. Anything else? Oh yeah, I was watching a Western. Speaking of revolvers, this week. I don't know what it was, the Virginian or something. And there you go. Somebody, well, no, not in this one. There was another one. Somebody was giving someone a shooting lesson. It was kind of equally stupid, but as I've talked about before. But in this Western, what was that? But somebody dared to pull a gun on whoever it was. It was obviously Top Gun. Maybe it was, it might have been Wells Fargo, Dale Robertson. That might have been an episode of that, because I record those. And anyway, he immediate quick draw can shoot a gnat out of the air, right? At least Hollywood style. And so someone dared to draw on him, but Dale Robertson, Jim Hardy, right? Hardy didn't want to kill him. So as the guy is drawing the gun out of his holster, and he's going to shoot Jim Hardy, he's about right here, and Jim Hardy pulls his gun and just shoots him just barely across the hand, to where he's bleeding, but not badly at all, okay? So maybe about that deep, on the outside of his hand. This is as he's moving. Something that even Ed McGivern couldn't do probably. I mean, just probably nobody could do that unless it was luck. Nobody. And then they talk about that just normal. So I just, he's and he knew right away, he's just fine. I just nicked him. I just nicked him a little bit, teach him a lesson or whatever it was. I just nicked him. Like I could do that any time, And those of you who have shot handguns, you realize how absolutely absurd that is. And I know, willing suspension of disbelief. We go along with the movies and that kind of thing. But in a setting, it's not a fantasy show necessarily. I mean, science fiction, all that's crazy stuff. You just let your mind go and believe whatever they want you to believe, to enjoy the fiction. But with something like that, I mean, it's kind of based on reality. I mean, real people in a real town, riding horses, walking around. There's not a lot of crazy stuff. There's not aliens involved or anything like that. But yet you're illustrating that can actually be done with a handgun on demand, whenever he wants to. And a lot of people who don't know any better believing that. Yeah. Which is probably, come to think of it, where a lot of this idiocy comes from, this ignorance comes from, when you see an incident, and this has been going on, this is not just a recent thing, that has been going on for 30, 40, 50 years. When there's a police shooting of some sort, then I could, if I thought about it, could come up with 4 or 5 big ones in Nashville over the year. I know one, it was a woman with a knife trying to stab an officer, came up to the car, trying to stab him through the window, and he shot her, and she was reaching in to stab him, and so different things like that. And what always comes out, of course, anybody that's interviewed, well, why couldn't shoot him in the arm, shoot her in the leg, or that kind of thing. That's where that comes from. Well, in the Westerns, they just shoot them in the hand, or shoot them in the shoulder, and they're fine. Don't have to kill them, or all they had was a knife, So that's where a lot of that comes from. The movies and Westerns, I'll have to say. It's just it's humorous, really. Anybody who has shot a handgun, and I shoot them not as much as some people, but I shoot them a lot and have shot them for many, many decades. And oh my gosh, if you had a robot moving his hand and ask me to take whatever my favorite handgun is that I shoot the best, and try to quickly shoot just the outer edge of the robot's hand or something as they're moving it around, dream on. So anyway, I thought it was funny. It just amazes me what we're expecting. Nah, I'm not criticizing the show. That's entertainment, but it's still, it gives, a lot of people do get the wrong idea about that. Those are great shows. I used to watch though the Tales of Wells Fargo, that was called, with Dad, and those episodes, and I watch them. I just know Dad has seen that episode, and I probably saw it when I was 10, and with him, and Dale. In fact, Dale Robertson, I met him at a gun show, Louisville Gun Day. He was there at one of the exhibits, one of the gun sellers there. I guess was friends with him. I think maybe a gun dealer from out west somewhere, or Oklahoma, I don't know. But he was there at his booth. Surprise! I don't know if it was even advertised, but there was Dale Robertson, and I had to say hi to him. I had a Colt. It was my 7.5 inch, the one with the kind of the ivory-looking handles, the 7.5 inch second gen. I think I just bought it at that show, as I recall, traded for it or something, and had it in my belt. And I walked up to say hi to him, and he said, "What you got there in your belt?" And you probably know what this is, don't you? I handed it to him, and he looked it over. It was really nice, and he stuck it in his belt like he was going to keep it, But he really had a big personality, even there, which he seems to. I didn't know him, but he seemed to have a big personality. But it was neat meeting him, because I told him I'd watched the show with my dad and all that, which I'm sure a million people told him. But it was neat to see him. And those are the things, again, that many of you have experienced, right, with your uncle, your dad, or somebody, or maybe your mom, watching those Westerns, depending on how old you are. Well, you wouldn't have to be old. You watch them right now with your dad. They're on, right? Your dad might be 40, and you watch them with him. Those shows are still on. When I say I used to watch that with Dad, I'm talking about when it came out, like in '59 or something. those shows were new. The Rifleman, I saw a comment just this week. Someone said he watched The Rifleman with his dad all the time. And he was on one of probably the Model 92 Winchester videos or something. And lots of us have lots of memories, doing that, with our dads or moms or back through the years. And so those shows still, many of them still wear well, don't they? They age well, rather. Like The Rifleman, Tales of Wells Fargo, Near Virginia, a lot of them, they're still really good shows. Now, when I go back and see, I mentioned this before, maybe like some of them, like The Lone Ranger, which I don't know, it doesn't really air much, I guess, but I have seen an episode of that, as an adult, and I look at it and think, okay, I used to love this show. I see why. It's like a cartoon. But some of them were a little more cartoonish than others. But some of them were really good, like The Rifleman. It's hard to beat, right? So anyway, hopefully you have some of those memories, and that might be my advice for young people. This week, hopefully you're building memories. Hopefully you have memories like that. Some don't. You just had a different childhood. And you had or have a more challenging childhood than like I had or a lot of people have had, especially in this day and time. A lot of people don't get to spend a lot of time with their folks. And my dad worked a lot, he was gone a lot, but we spent a lot of time together too. And some people don't have that benefit these days. It's pretty obvious. Just look at the craziness out there. But hopefully you do get those opportunities and take advantage of it, because your mom, they won't be around. There'll be a day you can't get them back. And then think about what you're doing, and if you're 20, if you're 30, whatever, if you're 40, what are your kids? What memories are your kids going to have? Or if you're not, if you're 20, what memory? You will have kids probably. What are their memories going to be? What I'm trying to say. What kind of memories are you going to create? Let's say you are 20, you're 15, whatever it is, you're probably going to have kids, okay? Let's assume it. You may not, but assume it. And then you're probably going to live to be 40 or 50 or my age. Probably, not necessarily. You might not be as brilliant as I am. You might walk in front of a train or something, But odds are you will. You might live to 120. So what kind of memory, and your kids may live to be that old, what kind of memories are they going to have, do you think, of you? Put yourself into the future of your kids. When they're 30, they're 50, they're my age, and they're talking about their mom and their dads. What stories are they going to be telling? Are they going to have memories like I have, and many of you have, of hanging out with their dad or watching westerns or whatever he's doing, helping them mow the grass or helping them in the office or in the business or washing the car with them, whatever it is you might do. So what are your plans if you're thinking about having a family? What are your plans for creating memories or an environment that is conducive to a pleasant life for your kids? Not an easy life necessarily. That's maybe the problem these days. Everybody's had it too easy. But building just good memories, something to think about, isn't it? So nothing I can think about too much because I don't have much of a memory, so I forget everything, right? But there's an advantage even to that, because every day is a new day. And every time I meet somebody, it's like a new friend, a new stranger. I don't know. Well, it's my wife or John. I meet John, see John. Oh, hey, who are you? Oh, yeah, okay, cool. We do videos? Okay, well, let's do one. Okay, rambled too much. Hope you enjoyed the HKG3 video this week. That was a handful and a cool gun to finally get our hands on. So we appreciate Silencer Central for bringing that. That was neat. I really like that gun. It seems like such a violent action, but it's just neat. It really is. It really is. And fun to shoot, and a lot of you are very familiar with it, either from video games or from the real world or whatever. Can I shoot a couple more times before I let you go? a nifty piece of hardware, no doubt about it, and world renowned. That's one of the nice benefits of this project, been able to shoot a lot of firearms and handle them and learn about them that are just world famous firearms, have a lot of history. And as I've talked about before, gives me insight into what that firearm is like from watching a movie or reading about it, or what was used by some military in whatever country, whatever. I know what that was like, kind of. I know what that firearm was like, and how it was to fire, and how it was to fire on full auto and semi-auto, and what the cartridge is, and how to break it down, field strip it, that kind of thing. So that's one of the big benefits of this. If you like firearms, if you haven't noticed, I kind of like them. All right, let's shoot. Let's put another one on this target. And you know what I just noticed? I think that ram is standing up over there. Maybe I can hit him. All right. All right, got the red plate. This might be a new tack driver of mine. Try the turkey again. I'll bring it up a little. All right, I think I'm empty. Yeah. I don't know where I was hitting there. Somewhere that wasn't steel, okay? I was hitting the brown dirt, and that's what I was aiming at. So cool gun, the old Anaconda. We'll do a video on this one because it's different enough. It's a big old 8-inch barrel, and yeah, I like it. Some of you would rather have a Desert Eagle or something. This is kind of my Desert Eagle. I'd rather have, if I'm gonna have some big behemoth revolver like that, give me something with some class. I'm sorry, Desert Eagle, but a revolver like this just is classy. I mean, there's not been a more classy revolver than the Python, and of course that's what this is, a giant Python. It really is. It's a giant Python. Giant Python 2020. That rib barrel and everything, the underlug, so it's got plenty of weight. I should be able to handle about any 44 Magnum in this thing. It's got a long chamber, so it'll chamber about any 44 Magnum out there. That doesn't mean I'm looking for stuff to shoot through a 24-inch tree or anything, but it's good to know your firearm will handle some tough. And again, not to bash Smith, I love my Model 29s and my Smith & Wesson revolvers. I got way more, I guess, Smith & Wesson revolvers than I do Colts. I have several. Well, I don't know. If you take my new service revolvers and my Colt single action, maybe it evens out, I guess. But as far as double action, I really like Smith & Wesson. But I tell you what, and I don't care, as I said before, if the new Smith & Wessons are made even better. I don't care. I don't want a key lock on my revolver. I'd rather not have a sleeved barrel, and that's the thing you get with these Colts. They're made just like they used to be, pretty much. Yeah. Well, I mean, the action is a little different. It's still just as smooth, and supposedly better, less likely to have issues with. Really, it's like glass. And you got a one-piece barrel. You don't have a key lock. You got the little QR code. It's not very obnoxious. You don't really notice it hardly. You don't have a bunch of crazy instruction manual stuff on them or anything. It is in a lot of ways like going back into the 70s or 80s. Yeah, it just is, and a smooth operator. So anyway. 40. Oh man, the only problem with one of these is I hope the action is durable, because if you have it, you just want to keep cocking it. Yeah, I mean, it's like glass. And I have noticed, I think I noticed this on the 6-inch when we did, the double action, the hammer breaks before you think it's going to. It's like you don't have to bring that trigger back very far. So if you have large hands, you're like, okay, it sounds like I'm selling these, doesn't it? Okay, well, yeah, it ought to sound like it. I had to pay a pretty penny for it. Uh, that's for sure. It was not cheap, and I paid retail. But I got it. Okay, so I'll probably let you go now. I don't know anything else you were dying to know about. You got the dates. John's going to be out in Tucson and Chattanooga. Check him out. He's a funny guy. He really is. And I shared some brainless quotations with you. Oh, I didn't. There's one I didn't share with you. I had copied this one down. It's funny. One man's trash is another man's treasure. You know, and you see that if you have a YouTube channel or you just browse comments on anybody's channel, it's funny. You'll see comments that are exactly the opposite of the previous comment or something, or whatever that might be. You know, oh, that gun's too heavy, and the next comment might be, yeah, but that gun's not heavy enough. You know, or something. Everybody's got a different opinion. This was on the NRA. I thought this was good because, you know, so many people in the firearms community are upset with the NRA, right? You know, we had to part company with them, and you know, kind of neutral, but you know, I don't know what they're doing, but so I'm not adamant one way or the other. I'm still a life member, but it is funny. A lot of people just harass, hate the NRA, blame them for every gun control that ever came along. Well, here's one. I thought this was going to be. I saw this. Appreciate your videos, but the NRA is a horrible organization. You know, the reason is they refuse to allow a single gun regulation. Most responsible gun owners don't have a problem with some common sense regulations. Oh, okay, that's where you're going. And so that's true. You see people, you see comments on videos or around anywhere, say the NRA sucks or whatever it is. Don't assume it's somebody in the firearms community, you know, that's just upset with the NRA and what they've been doing with the money or resources or something. Often, maybe most often, it's the same critics that they've always had. It's the anti-gunners, or people don't like the Second Amendment, or they are for common sense gun regulations. Yeah. Well, I'm for some common sense First Amendment regulations, aren't you? Oh, you know what that is? That's a frog. He's in that barrel there somewhere, hollering at me. They're pretty loud. They're pretty loud. They get nestled in. If you ever seen one, we always call them tree frogs. But they just get flattened down, and they're not very big usually. And you just, I don't know, be messing around, and there's one on the trash can lid or something, just hiding there, you know, and they stick like glue to something. So anyway, good to see you all. Glad you came out, and hope I made a little sense today, just with my usual rambling. And I'm gonna do some grilling a little bit later, and maybe a little shooting, more shooting, who knows. And I'll hope to be here next week to yak at you again, because I've been here 135 times on Sundays. Wow, that's a lot of Sundays in a row. So hopefully we can continue that, and you'll show up. Life is good.